Hey guys, how's it going? I've actually gotten a couple of people who told me that I should probably change the format of my videos. They actually requested it, thought it would be a good idea, and like the whole the not landscape, but this is landscape, the other one. But so I changed it around for them. This video today is because of a conversation I had with my cousin the day before yesterday about religion, the nature of lying, and utility. I told you, Richard. I told you I was going to shout you out in this, and yeah, because the conversation was pretty lengthy. Okay, so when I say religion, lies, and utility, a couple of weeks ago, I put out a video basically talking about my experience at First Friday with a religious guy, super religious guy, and he was out doing the whole church thing with the signs and screaming and telling everyone they're going to go to hell, all that stuff. And basically said, if you ever lied in your life, then you're a liar, no matter how often, and or what it was about, and in the eyes of God, you're a liar. And I was just like, okay. So obviously, being who I am, I challenged him. I challenged his train of thought, and I challenged his whole sense of what he learned about lying. And I basically gave him this scenario. Say you're at your house, and I'll keep it brief, but say you're at your house and a man comes up about my size. I'm about 6'4", 280 pounds, a big guy. And he comes to your house and he says, with a knife in his hand, he's covered in blood. He says, man, could you tell me where your kids are at? I'm a killer. I've been out killing kids all day. And I'm about to reach my quota. Your kids are the last kids on the block. Are they home? Because I would like to go upstairs and kill them. Could you just, I want to go home, rest and relax. So obviously at this point, it becomes a question of I think it's utility versus deontological ideology. So if I'm not mistaken, deontological rules or ethics is basically you do whatever action that you're doing based on the set of whatever rules that you follow. So that right now, this guy would be under the God rules or the Bible rules or the Jesus rules. While utilitarian philosophy or ideology basically says that you do what's right that it's going to benefit the utility of everyone, the most utility. You do whatever that benefits the most utility of everyone around you. That includes you, your kids, everybody in that house that this big motherfucker's going to come in and try to kill. My question for this guy was, you really think God, if you died and you got up to the gates, and God was just like, oh man, you only told one lie ever, and it was about this guy coming up to your door killing your kids, and you still lied, so you're still a sinner, so that means that you are still in the wrong and you can't get in. Right. I'm sorry about that last deal. I switched hands and my finger got over the camera, but yeah. I mean, do you really think that God would think that? Or alternatively, do you think God would think that was perfectly reasonable for you to have done that? Because if you hadn't had to have, and you couldn't take this guy, you didn't have a weapon to protect yourself, you weren't going to shoot him, you think that it would be like, yeah, I see why you told that. I totally get it. We're going to let that one slide, because if you didn't, you were going to get smoked and your kids were going to die. So yeah. I'm pretty sure God would have been okay with you lying about your kids not being there. Just gonna throw that out there. And in my opinion, and obviously it's my opinion, that is the huge hole in modern theology and Christianity specifically, is that it doesn't leave any leeway for utility, according to the way that people translate it and transcribe it, and according to how they believe that the scripture is supposed to be read or lived by. It just doesn't. Everybody wants to look at the action. Everybody wants to look at the action, and no one wants to lead up. No one wants to look at what led up to that action. For instance, you have a person out in the world selling drugs, and they're a drug dealer, right? And they're out and they're selling cocaine or selling fentanyl, or they're selling whatever they need to sell to get by. Everybody wants to lose their mind over this guy out here selling drugs. And believe me, I grew up around a lot of drug dealers. It was drugs in and out of my house all the time growing up. Everybody wants to look at this drug dealer or the person using drugs and put them under the prison or put them in a rehab center or do something with them. But nobody wants to look at the reason or how they got to that point. I would say 9 times out of 10, this person who's selling cocaine or who's selling fentanyl or who's selling whatever they're selling, this person is doing it for the utility of not only himself, but probably his family, his girl, his children, his mother, whoever else he's trying to take care of, and he just doesn't have the means or opportunity to do so. And this goes to the drug user too. The drug user probably and I read this meme about this quote that what's the dude's name? It'll come to me. But he basically wrote a quote. He basically said a quote saying that weed isn't a gateway drug, cocaine isn't a gateway drug, alcoholism isn't a gateway drug. You know what the gateway is? Having a shitty childhood, or being molested when you were a child, or having to deal with PTSD from going to war, and having to be on the front line, or having to deal with it when you're just from growing up really hard. Those are the things that put you into the gateway for the things that you end up doing, like the drug use or the alcoholism. Those are the things. Everybody wants to concentrate on the action, and no one wants to concentrate on what's leading up to the action. It's like me punching a guy in the face, and then nobody looking at what led up to that punch in the face. This dude could have been a complete asshole. He could have been a complete jerk. He could have been all in my face, pushing me, and then I sock him, and then everybody wants to be like, oh, the big black guy socked this guy in the face. Oh, he wasn't even doing anything. Yes, he was. He was being a dick. I was just looking at my nails right now. They're on extra dirt. I come to my meditation spot before I do anything. I get up, I come straight here so I can get my thoughts out. So, yeah, sorry about that. Point is, with all these examples that I just gave you, everything that I just threw out to you, everything that I just gave you right now, all has to do with utility. All of it. And I mean, some of the shit is bad results, some of the shit is worthwhile results. It all has to do with utility, and sometimes abuse and lying and everything is pretty much a part of it. And I mean, the drug use thing is kind of complex because that's offering utility to only one person. However, if that person hadn't gone through the things that they went through up until that point, they probably wouldn't be using drugs at the level that they're using. I'm not saying that they wouldn't be doing it at all. Deontological, I can't say this freaking word. Deontological ethics. I got it. In this world that we live in these cities that we live in, having to deal with the type of stuff that we have to deal with, that's just not realistic all the time. Now you're talking to a guy who doesn't hardly lie ever. I'm not big on lying at all. However, I've been a single dad for almost 5 years, and I'm not going to lie. There has been some times where I've had to do what I had to do to make sure that my kids were cool, to make sure that they were okay, And that is the reality of things. That's the reality of things. My kids being okay offers me way more utility than trying to be ethically sound every single day of my life. It offers way more utility. And I'm not even talking about big things. I'm talking about things that I personally think that I would have been better, like, that weren't morally sound in my opinion, like in my realm of thinking. And it may not have been big things to other people. So, in closing, I would say that most people are good people. Oh my gosh, my nose. Most people are good people. Most people just want to live a sound and happy life. And let me tell you something. There are more poor people than rich people. There are a lot more people dealing with mental stress and bullshit than you think. There's a whole lot more homeless and deprived and mentally challenged veterans than you think as well. And all these people are doing the best that they can just to survive, just to get by. And sometimes the utility of things it way outweighs what the morally or the ethical thing to do. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. It's true.